up your engine. Now you're looking for a nice luxury car. You don't want to spend 100 grand on a Lexus. 100,000 miles ago, this guy bought this Lexus for $9,000. That was 100,000 miles ago. Let's check it out. See if he got his money's worth. As you can see, it's still a beautiful looking car. These things were made in Japan. They were made strong. He did change the wheels. He didn't like the original wheels. He went for a more modern look, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can do whatever you want. But you can see, this one's an LS430 V8, and it is still super clean. And check this out. It says, premium unleaded fuel only. It is a 2003. It's an older car. In the 100,000 miles he's driven it, he's put nothing but regular, cheap fuel in it, and it still runs perfectly fine. Don't ever be fooled by that BS. Now, if you got a Ferrari or a Porsche, yeah, you're gonna have to throw the extra money in. They're not gonna run right, the old ones. The new ones will run okay. They'll just have less horsepower. But the old ones, you had to put premium. You know, that says you have to. That's a load of nonsense. 100,000 miles he's been driving it as a used car, nothing but regular gas, runs perfectly fine. Now originally this was a $55,000 and change car. So he bought it with 130,000 miles for $9,000. So, decent deal. Now he has 95,000 miles more. So we put almost 100,000 miles on it and it still runs fine. So that tells you, he only paid $9,000 out of 55,000, almost the same amount of mileage on it that it had. So that he wants to get it to 1,000,000 miles. If he does, look at the percentages that he made. he'll end up paying like 5% of what it costs versus the 1,000,000 miles he put on it. You can't beat it if you get a good, solid car. And as per usual, check the old door. Made in Japan. The leather's still clean. Yeah, you got a few wrinkles here and there, but you can do like I did my wife's car. You can actually re-dye it if you want. The wood steering, still in pretty good shape. Oh, the other wood is still showing pretty good. Got the obligatory sunroof still there. And look, glass. This isn't cheap plastic crap. And when we go in the back seat, the leather here, of course, is better. Hardly anybody sat in it. Got the nice air conditioning and heat ducts. One comfortable car. And it's got the cool little secret back. I love these. You can unlock it and open getting into the trunk. And speaking of space, we'll check out the trunk. It has a lot of space. There's the little door I was telling you about. These have a lot of space in them. And when you close it, you can hear how solid built the car is. That is not a clunky car. So let's look under the hood. It's a 4.3 liter variable valve timing V8 engine. But they have one main flaw. The engine has a rubber timing belt. And it is an interference engine. So if the rubber timing belt breaks, the pistons hit the valves, and goodbye engine. It bends stuff. It does cost quite a bit of money to actually change it out. An old car like this, if you changed it out, you'd have to change all the pulleys, the tensioner, the water pump, everything, because you wouldn't want to chance one of them breaking. Now my customer just had that replaced. It cost them $900. I've been working on these things since 1989 when they started selling them. And you know how many timing belts I've seen break? None. I've never seen one actually break. I got a customer with one that has 350,000 miles on it. Never touched the timing belt, and it has not broken yet. Now, you're gambling, yes. There's no arguing that. But I personally have never seen one actually break. They are that well made. But this also has a major flaw. The expensive gas struts don't hold and the hood comes down, so I've got to use the stick. It can't come down and hit me in the head now. Nothing wrong with using the stick. They got two gas lifters and they wear out over time. All manufacturers over the decades have gotten cheaper and cheaper. They used to have really nice heavy duty springs in them, steel springs. But of course, they cost money. They also weigh more. I mean, yeah, you'll get 1/1000th of a mile better gas mileage putting in struts instead of a spring that weighs a little bit more. Mainly it's because it's cheaper to make them, that's all. Who cares, you got a stick. Or you can do like I do sometimes. Get a pair of vice grip pliers and leave them in and just clamp them when you use them and unclamp them when you're done. It's no big deal. Now this particular engine puts out 290 horsepower because it's an LS. If it's an SC, it'd go all the way up to 300. And then by modern standards, that's not all that much, but it's a lot of power. When we take it for a ride, you'll see they got plenty of power. It's not like they don't have power. Consequently, they're not really light on the gas. In town, you're going to get in the teens. But he gets 22 miles a gallon on the highway. That's not bad for a big, heavy luxury car. I've driven modern luxury cars that got 23, 24 miles a gallon on a highway. You get power and weight. It's not going to get phenomenal gas mileage. You do not buy a luxury car for gas mileage. Unless you mess with one of those ultra new cars where they have a tiny little 4-cylinder engine in a big luxury car with turbochargers and GDI injection. They can put out 300 horsepower, more than 300. They can put out more than this V8. But guess what? They won't be around 18 years later. They won't go 250,000 mile trouble-free. I've seen those 4-cylinder ones that they put in break down at 80,000 miles. This is a normally aspirated V8 engine. It's not turbocharged. It doesn't have GDI injection. It's got old school fuel injection, a very solid ignition system. They're pretty much bulletproof. Rarely will you see a 400 Lexus on the side of the road waiting for a tow truck. Now the transmission is a 5-speed automatic with overdrive. These are extremely dependable. Again, I have never seen one break down on one of these things. They are ultra dependable. And what are they? They are classic rear wheel drive. This isn't a front wheel drive car. It is a classic rear wheel drive car with a differential in the back and drive shafts going to the back wheel. Now there's a lot of reasons for that, but the main reason is ages ago in the 80s when they decided to make these luxury cars, Toyota sent a group of Japanese to California to study Americans to see what Americans want in a luxury car. And they came out to the conclusion they wanted a V8 engine and they wanted rear wheel drive. So that's exactly what they built. And build them well they did. I'm gonna put my fancy scan tool on and look at the data to see how worn things are with 240,000 miles on it. And we got the old scan tool hooked up. Okay, here we go with the data. There's 3 faults there, and then out of all the things it could possibly be, there's 3 more here, which that's probably nothing. We'll start there. Okay, here we go with the history. It's got codes for communication problem, communication stop, steering pad switch communication stop. That means one of these things went a little bit off. You're going to get that in an old car. It runs fine, but if the computer has a glitch of 1,000th of a second, it can trip these codes. These codes mean absolutely nothing because, as you can see, there's no codes anywhere else. We'll go to the only ones that might mean something, and that's the engine codes, and there's 3 of them. But it might be the communication ones too. We'll soon find out. And what do we get? PO430, very common code. The catalyst system is below the threshold on bank 2. That means one of the catalysts is slightly worn, but it runs perfectly fine. We'll run some cleaner through it, but as long as these things run, who cares? I had a customer drive one of these 5 years with this code, and when he came in the 6th year, the code went away and it was gone. And I said, what'd you do, take it to somebody else and get it fixed? He said, no. He said, I just switched to Shell gasoline. I said, well, it must be a little bit better gasoline because now it says the catalytic converter is running efficiently and it stopped tripping the code. So no biggie there. Now we're going to look at the live data because live data tells you a lot about what shape a car is in. So we'll whip through them all and see if there's any orange data saying that there's a problem. Blah, 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 blah. No orange yet. All right. Well, there's still some war, but there's still no orange. No misfires at all. No orange data. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there's nothing really wrong. Let's get some specific data here. We'll analyze that. Over here's a short-term fuel trim. It is going up and down. They will when they're old. It's minus 0.04, and then sometimes it changes. The other one is plus 742, minus 82, minus 2.3. They're going to fluctuate a little bit. Come on now, it's got 225,000 miles on it. Now eventually that will trip a check engine code, but it's got to be plus or minus 20%. And when you're talking about minus 0.08 or plus 2.38, whatever, it's got a long way to go before it's going to have any trouble codes for the engine running too lean or too rich. And here, this thing's still idling, smooth as can be. Yes, it's running. It isn't turned off. You can't even feel a vibration in the shifter. We'll put it in gear. You still can't feel any vibration. That's the advantage of a V8. V8's put out a lot of power, a lot of torque with the V8 configuration, 4 on each side, but they're also extremely smooth engines. So let's take it for a ride. And off we go. As you can see, one smooth ride. And guess what? It still has the original struts on it, the original engine, the original transmission. When they built these luxury cars, they knew what they were doing. Okay, we're stopped as smooth as can be. Let's floor it and see what happens. Pretty smooth takeoff. Listen to that V8. The transmission though, you can't hear anything. It makes no noise and it shifts like a dream, as old as it is. So basically what we have here is an old flagship that still drives and rides like a flagship for $9,000 100,000 miles ago. You can't beat that. And as we go on the highway, handles like a dream, goes over the bumps of these crappy Houston roads, and you really do not feel it that much. Even though the struts have 225,000 miles on them. So here you go, an ultimate luxury car bought for $9,000. Another 95,000 miles was put on it, and it's still running like a clock. They certainly did overbuild these things back then. There's no arguing that. Take advantage of it. Even if something goes wrong with it and you gotta fix it, they aren't that bad of fixing as long as the engine timing belt doesn't break. Everything else is like any other car. But truthfully, I've never seen a transmission go out in these, so I don't know how much it would cost to fix the transmission, because I've never seen one break. And even though I'm a fan of the 6-cylinder Lexuses, because all of them except for the 330 have non-interference engines, so you never even have to think about that. But this is a more luxurious car than the 300s. They ride better. They got a little bit better style to them. So if you're looking to buy a used one at a good price, you might be surprised how many years you'd still be driving it going down the road if you just want a great luxury car and you don't have to keep up with the Joneses and buy the new ones that have those horrible, ugly mouth grills instead of these beautiful grills. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.